Sharina Hudson getting out of my car with my money. Life is not what you think it is behind the scenes. Trust me. Homegirl is miserable. Like, that's what you get.
Hey y'all, it seems like the drama between Sharina and Kevin is far from over because they are in deep trouble right now. You may remember that Kevin got sued for racking up huge debts on his credit cards and owing money to several banks. He had to sell his mansions and his fancy cars to pay off his creditors after Wendy stopped sending him alimony checks. But things got even worse for them because Sharina is now facing a lawsuit from TJ Maxx after she failed to pay her $3,000 balance on her TJ Maxx card. Yes, you heard that right. The money that was nothing to them before is now the reason they are getting dragged to court. Sharina and Kevin are struggling to make ends meet, while Wendy is living her best life in Florida. She thinks this is their karma for cheating on her and ruining her marriage, and she doesn't feel sorry for them at all. But before we spill the tea on Sharina's legal woes, let me remind you how this whole mess started in the first place. This all goes back to 2019, when Wendy filed for divorce from Kevin after she found out that he had a secret baby with Sharina. Wendy knew he was cheating on her, but she couldn't take it anymore when she learned that he had a child with his mistress, who he was hiding from her. She kicked him to the curb and also fired him as her manager.
Don't recommend that you work with your husband because I made him my manager, and then when I decided to divorce him, he had to be fired. In other words, I made him divorced and unemployed all in one day. Having this side girl for almost 15 years of our marriage. I've known about her almost since the beginning. I've known that Kevin is a serial cheat. The first time I found out was while I was pregnant with our son on bed rest. During that time, I gave birth to him. He was in the delivery room. You'll see that play out in the movie. He's passing out cigars and you know, my wife and I, you know, little Kevin, who's not so little anymore. He's 20 years old. I plotted to divorce Kevin and I sacrificed a lot of myself to come out successful on the other side.
And that's not all, folks. There's more to this story, because while Sharina and Kevin were living it up, Sharina's own family turned against her and sided with Wendy. They blamed Sharina for breaking up Wendy's marriage and ruining her life. Sharina's uncle even spoke out and said that Sharina had no morals and no respect for her family. He said she left South Carolina a long time ago and never came back to visit them, not even on holidays. Now this is where things got really ugly for Wendy, because when she filed for divorce, she had to pay Kevin alimony, which became his main income. Sharina was enjoying herself and started a bunch of businesses, which all flopped horribly. Kevin paid for her massage therapy school, opened a kiosk for her at a mall in North Carolina, and helped her launch a jewelry and clothing line called Lavish. Kevin also opened a barber shop, which was a total disaster. And guess what? He was using Wendy's money for all these ventures, which went down the drain. But they didn't care. They kept living a lavish lifestyle on Wendy's dime, without working a single day. And if you know Wendy, you know she wasn't going to stay quiet. She had to say something. I mean, if she can't stop them from spending her money, she should at least be able to shade them, right? She said the reason why Sharina's businesses failed was because she's not a smart girl and she has no idea how to run a business.
You know, less than smart women who moved to the big city with bright lights, you know, and she wanted to be a model. And so you know how the girls with the sparkler champagne bottles at the club, they get people to spend more money, they dress scantily clad and things like that.
But Wendy had more tricks up her sleeve. When her show got canceled, she cut off all the alimony checks to Kevin, and he went berserk. He had no money left to support the extravagant lifestyle he and Sharina were used to. He was so desperate that he took Wendy to court for not paying him alimony. He claimed that he had no other income and he was drowning in bills. He said in court documents obtained by the US Sun, "I have fallen behind on most of my bills. I currently live in a community that requires payments to the Homeowners Association, and I'm behind on that bill. If the homeowners association fees are not paid, foreclosure will soon follow. He also said, "My car insurance hasn't been paid. As a result of not receiving monthly severance payments, I'm behind on credit card payments. Because I have no money since the severance payments were suspended, my life has been greatly affected since the plaintiff stopped making payments under our settlement agreement." This is some foolishness right here. This man was living off of Wendy's money and didn't bother to save any. He and Sharina thought they had it made and that Wendy would keep sending them money forever. But the judge wasn't buying it. The judge denied his request and said it was not urgent. The judge dismissed his application without prejudice. Now you may be wondering how Wendy got away with not paying him alimony. Well, Wendy was smart. She put a clause in the alimony agreement that said she only had to pay him if she still had a show. And since the Wendy Williams show got canceled after she got ill, she didn't owe him anything. And if you're wondering if Wendy will have to pay him again if she gets another job, well, she thought of that too. She said in the documents that she only had to pay him if she was doing mainstream television. And if you check out her social media, you'll see that she's planning to do podcasts. Things got so bad for Sharina and Kevin that they had to sell their house in Florida for $1.2 million. Kevin also reportedly borrowed money from a company called Flex Wealth to buy 2 luxury cars, which he'll have to pay back.
This backwoods Barbie, he was tricking up money. She's in the passenger seat of my Rolls Royce Ferrari. And, really?
But Kevin is not the only one who's in hot water. Sharina is also in trouble because she's being sued by TJ Maxx. And rumor has it there are more lawsuits coming her way. A bunch of court documents show that Sharina is broke and that she owes more than $3,000 on her TJ Maxx card. According to the court documents, she was supposed to pay this debt by March 27, 2023, but she hasn't paid a cent. This amount was nothing to them before, but that changed when Wendy stopped sending them alimony checks. Now, what about Wendy? Her BFF Miss Jones, aka Jonesy from 947 The Beat, spilled some tea on what Wendy has been doing lately. Now, if you remember, Miss Jones was the same woman who exposed Kevin for hiring a hitman to kill her because he was jealous of her friendship with Wendy. Now, that's a whole other story for another time, but Miss Jones said that she went to Wendy's house to see how she was doing, since she's been out of the public eye for a while. And guess what? Miss Jones found out from Wendy's doorman that she moved to Florida a few weeks ago with her son Kevin Hunter Jr. She's trying to heal and relax, without Kevin and Sharina bothering her with their nonsense.
Okay, so yesterday, Wayne made me go and visit Wendy Williams.
I made you go.
Everybody was in on
You know
it.
what? I sort of did because I kept saying, did you go? Did you go? Did you go?
And I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off.
Yeah.
So I pull up. First, I pulled up to the wrong building.
Well, it's been a minute.
I know.
Yeah.
And I had to walk, but it was okay. And so I get there, I go inside, the door people greet me and and I said, "This might be a shot in the dark, sir, but I'm here to visit Wendy." And he shakes his head and he goes, "You're a couple of months late.
Wow.
She moved." And I said, and he goes, "Yeah, that's all I can tell you." So, I start prying. I'm like, "Well, did they sell the unit? Is it on the market?" Because this was a fabulous duplex. And the building she was living in, which now I can tell you guys, it was supposed to be a hotel originally. And then COVID hit and they couldn't, obviously, no one was supposed to be in a hotel, so they sold it. And she told me how much she paid for it. And I was like, that was such a steal. It was beautiful, 2-floor, 3-bedroom unit. So I thank you, sir. And then I go and I look for the other people that, live in the building,
Right.
work in the building.
Start sleuthing.
Yup. And I got my sleuth on. And they said, well, you know what happened? She was getting better. She was coming around. And then she started getting sick again. And because her family's in Florida,
Right.
and people were coming in her circle that they weren't familiar with, and they didn't know, they couldn't get access to her when they wanted, they moved her down to Florida. So she is allegedly down in Florida with her son, recuperating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we wish her.
We do wish
best.
her well.
Yeah.
And Wendy, if you listening, you won. Did he go into jail for Easter? It was true. Everything you said. I always believed. I always knew. You won. And Kev can't get your money neither. Wendy, the judge shut him down. You can stop now, Wendy. The gig's up.
And get this, sources say that Sharina is blaming Wendy for her lawsuit because she thinks that if Wendy hadn't stopped the alimony checks, she wouldn't be in this situation. Can you believe that? Sharina has gone crazy. How can she steal Wendy's husband, use Wendy's money to start a bunch of failed businesses, and then blame Wendy for her bad financial choices and her legal troubles? It's insane. And of course, people had a lot to say about this drama, and they didn't hold back. One person said, "The amazing thing about this is Wendy can come back and be on top as if she never left. Nobody's taken her place since she left the air in 2020. That's what I want her to understand. Taking the time off to heal. There's no need to rush the healing process in fear of being replaced, because in my opinion, I don't see that happening." Another person said, "You know you're broke when you can't afford a $3,000 TJ Maxx bill." But now I want to hear from you. What do you think about Sharina confronting and blaming Wendy for her lawsuit? And do you think this is really the end for Sharina and Kevin? You know what to do. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And don't forget to click here to watch this other very messy video.